Hey, welcome. Today, we're talking about love, but probably not in the way you're used to. We're going to explore it not as some mushy feeling, but as a fundamental force of nature, almost like gravity. This idea comes from a framework called the physics of love. And honestly, getting a handle on it might just be the key to navigating this world, which, let's face it, feels pretty broken right now.
So let's just start with a question that I think we can all feel in our bones these days. Why does it feel like contempt is winning? You scroll through your phone, you turn on the news, and it just seems to be everywhere. That sneering, dismissive anger. What's going on?
Well, this isn't just something you're imagining. Clinical psychologist Dr. Michael Lukens puts it pretty bluntly. Contempt is winning too much. He sees this as a real measurable trend. You can see the fallout in crumbling relationships, in divided communities, in fractured societies. This slide into contempt, it's a pattern, and it's repeating itself all over the place.
Okay, so for our first section, let's really dig into the scale of this problem. Just how deep does this rabbit hole actually go?
See, according to Dr. Lukens, this conflict isn't just some big, abstract thing happening out there between countries or political parties. It operates on every single level of human life. It actually starts inside of us, right? With our own self-doubt and internal battles. And from there, it just radiates outward, to our families, to our neighbors, and then, onto the world stage. It's the exact same destructive pattern, just playing out in bigger and bigger arenas.
Now, if contempt is the disease, you'd think love would be the cure, right? But here's the twist in Dr. Lukens' idea. He argues that contempt is winning because our very definition of love has become weak and fuzzy. So to fight back, we have to totally rethink what love even is.
Dr. Lukens has this amazing metaphor to explain what's happened. He calls it a conceptual garden. The idea is that our most important concepts, especially love, are like plants. They need care, they need pruning. If you just leave them alone, they don't stay pristine. They get overgrown with weeds really, really fast.
And what happens when that garden gets weedy? Our idea of love gets tangled up in sentimentality and cliches. It becomes powerless. Its true value gets lost in all that confusion. The potential is still there, buried under all those weeds, but we can't actually use it as a force for good anymore.
So, how do we get in there and start pulling those weeds? Well, that brings us to Dr. Lukens' powerful idea. It's a way to reclaim love and make it a functional, powerful force in the world again.
First, let's properly introduce the mind behind this. Dr. Michael Lukens is a clinical psychologist and an emotions theorist. He specializes in some really tough areas. We're talking addiction, trauma resolution, and repairing broken relationships. His life's work is this incredible multi-volume series called The Physics of Emotioning, which is a really deep look at the motivational forces that drive our behavior. And it's out of all that practical, real-world work that this new definition of love comes from.
Okay, here it is. He calls pure love committed benevolent interest, or CBI for short. Now, this is the most important part to get. In his model, love is not a feeling. Feelings are like the exhaust from an engine. Love, or CBI, is the fuel. It's a fundamental drive energy. It's a motivational force that, when you tap into it, actively pushes you toward doing something constructive.
So, what does it actually mean to think of love as a core drive, like hunger or thirst, instead of just, a fuzzy emotion that comes and goes? This little shift in perspective, it changes everything.
Dr. Lukens, borrowing a line from the theorist Maturana, puts it just like this. Love is a fundament. He argues that for our minds, for our ability to make good choices, love is just as essential, just as basic as breathing is for our bodies. It's supposed to be a core part of our operating system.
So think of it like this. Inside, we always have a choice between two different roads. There's the reactive, lizard brain path, right? Where fear leads to anger and anger curdles into contempt. But CBI opens up a whole other pathway. It starts with awareness, a moment of pause. From there, your core benevolent interest, your love, kicks in and guides your conscience toward a constructive action. It's a completely different internal journey we can learn to take.
So, what does this actually feel like in a real moment? Imagine you're furious with someone you care about and you just want to say something awful. CBI, that's the little voice, that internal force that screams, "Stop, don't do it." It tries to interrupt that impulse. And what if you ignore it and say the awful thing anyway? That sick feeling in your stomach afterward, that guilt, that's your CBI, your love, telling you that you just violated a core part of who you are.
So this whole redefinition isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. It's designed from the ground up to be a practical tool, something anyone can pick up and use.
And Dr. Lukens says it best himself. He's not trying to invent love. He's trying to invent a definition that's actually useful, one that turns love from this passive thing we hope to feel into an active tool we can use to make things better.
And check out how this tool works. It starts with you. You use the idea of CBI to analyze your own motivations. Once you get a handle on that, you can better understand your relationships. That understanding then gives you the power to correct your own course. And from there, you can start the much bigger, harder work of helping us correct our collective course. It scales up from the inside out.
Which brings us right back to where we started this whole thing. Why does any of this matter? Because according to Lukens, learning to understand and apply love as this fundamental drive, as committed, benevolent interest, is literally what we need to survive the conflicts that are tearing us apart. It's a tool for our own salvation.
And so, we're left with this final question. If love isn't just a feeling you wait for, but a fundamental force you can choose to wield, if it's a tool for building, for repairing, for correcting, what are you going to choose to build with it?